Anthony Hartwig here with a very exciting West Branch football coaches corner and season preview as we approach the 2025 football season. Tim Cooper comes on and he's the head coach of the West Branch Warriors, of course. Coach, thanks for coming on and talking to us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it. Before we get into all the excitement around this year, let's get football fresh in people's mind again. Give a little recap of last season and what you think the returning players can learn from last year's experience.
Last year we had a pretty successful season. We went 11-1. We won the league title for the fifth straight year, which was awesome. We had a really, really, really good defense. I think we only gave up about 7 point something points per game. So that was kind of a strong suit of our team, was our defense and our mentality on that side of the ball. We did a really good job against everyone in the run game, both us offensively and defensively. That was a big point of emphasis for us. Unfortunately, we ran into state power Glenville in the second round of the playoffs. Our kids fought really hard. It was 0-0 late in the third quarter, and we ended up losing 13-0 to a really talented Glenville team. So I think we got a lot of big game experience coming back from some important positions. Obviously, we're going to miss a lot of those seniors that were staples in our program for the last several years. But the mentality that we had and the practice mentality that we had, I think is something that's going to carry over to this year's team. And we're really excited about the guys that we have. We're expecting some big things and some different guys to step up that are seniors now.
Every year when you lose a group of seniors, you have to fill that spot of leadership. Who are some guys that you already see that are kind of taking that next step in their leadership journey and trying to fill those spots that last year's seniors left?
I think we got a bunch of different guys that are going to be in that mold. Obviously we're going to lean on guys that have done it before. So for us, like offensive line wise, Gavin Hangs returning. He's going to be a 3-year starter. He's a guy that has been in big moments and big games for us over the last several years. So he's got to be a leader up front for us. And then, we have Jeremiah Thomas, was the first team All-State guy last year. He's been playing since he was a freshman. So in those big moments, we're expecting him to come through for us in a variety of situations. And then we have guys that have maybe not been superstar roles over the last several years, but have actually contributed on the team. Clayton Day is going to be a 3-year starter for us on the defensive side of the ball. Zach Coffey's a 3-year starter on that side of the ball as well. Lucas Black and Grady Close were big parts of that defensive unit last year. And then we have some guys that have played over the last several years, just not boatloads of time in those types of games, but have helped on special teams and stuff. But those are really the key guys that I think. Oh, Gavin Gregory, how can I forget about him? He's our 6'7" tight end. He's a big guy. He's been starting both ways for the last it'll be 3 years now. So a lot of different guys that are going to come through for us, and we're excited about it. That's for sure.
One of the things I've always complimented West Branch football on since YSN became a thing and was covering West Branch, you always have like a quarterback that kind of can step in and know exactly what to do. It doesn't matter who leaves the last year. The next guy up always comes in and seems to just know exactly what to do with the ball in their hands. And Jeremiah was no different last year. What do you attribute this ability to kind of develop quarterbacks to and to be able to put guys into spots after a really good player maybe left last year and then really not miss a beat in that position?
Yeah, I think, with us offensively, we really try and tailor it around that guy. So our system is kind of built to, we adapt year in and year out. Last year we knew that the offensive line was all back, and Jeremiah was an explosive athlete. So we really tried to focus on the run game for him and get him involved, as well as Boston Mullinex, our running back, and then take some shots down the field with some different play action stuff with some explosive athletes. But overall, our system and our staff does a really good job of like making it tailored to that quarterback. A couple years ago when we had Bo Alizos, it was a quick game based because, he was getting the ball out as quick as possible and spreading it to all different parts of the field. And then Drew DeShields did a little bit of everything. Brock Hilliard did a little bit of everything, all those guys. And at the end of the day, we're really fortunate with really talented kids. So, we can take some credit as coaches here and there, but for the most part, it goes to the kids and all the work that they put into the ability that they have as quarterbacks.
And then let's talk about that defense. Like you said, last year it was so good, and it was even the playoffs, that game you lost, the defense was definitely not one of the reasons why you could stock up that loss. What are some keys to the West Branch defensive mentality and the things that are working so well for the defensive side in that green machine?
Yeah, I think that the physicality that our kids play with, if you look at our community, it's a farming-based community. We have a lot of kids that grew up working on the farm, working in different, uh, you know, businesses or avenues. So that workers-like mentality is how our defense has to attack every day and every play. We're really looking at pursuit of football and physicality. We want to get as many green helmets to the football, and I think our kids did a great job of that last year. And with a lot of the pieces that we have back on that side of the ball, we expect to maintain that. We want to create turnovers and we want to also stop the run. If we can do those things, we're going to be in good situations when it comes to the end of the game.
Let's talk about your schedule. We'll start inside the conference. You said at the top, you've been ruling the roost for a while. That always makes teams, though, want you that much more. Talk about what you see out of the conference this year and what are the things you expect out of the EBC and the schedule you're going to have to face inside of it.
Yeah, I think that everyone's going to be improved in the EBC. If you look at the people, the coaches that we have good coaches at all the different schools. Minerva with Coach Slates, I think they're going to be much improved. Just getting guys out and getting them excited about it. Marlington has one of the best athletes in the league with the Evanich kid. He's explosive. He's a touchdown anywhere he touches the football. So you got to make sure that you're accounting for him. And I know that they've got some young, talented kids coming up through. Alliance returns like 10 starters on the offensive side of the ball and several on the defensive side of the ball. So I expect them to be much improved there. And then Salem is somewhere in the same essence as Alliance with how many they're returning. We also know Salem's going to give us a game of all games. They are prepping for us probably right now as we're speaking. Coach Johnson does a really good job over there with the game planning and stuff, and they're going to be much better than they were last year. And then Carrollton has been really consistent. If you look at the standings over the last several years, Carrollton's has finished probably second most of the years, second or third. They've been in the upper part of the league. They have a physical brand of football that they play, and Coach Hill down there does a really good job as well. So it's going to be a challenge. I think that you face, like you said, you're going to have a bullseye on your back every single week. You're going to get everyone's best shot. For our kids, like, we graduated a group of guys that have never lost in the EBC. These kids have never lost in the EBC. So, keeping those guys hungry is going to be important for us this season. I think our team goals, one of them is always, win the EBC. With that in mind, our kids are focused, on a weekly basis of what we need to do to accomplish that.
With the smaller conference, you have more opportunities than most teams in a conference to go out and play non-conference games and not only test yourself for playoffs, but also, of course, get those computer points up as much as you can. Who are those teams that pop up outside of the EBC this year that you're really excited about getting a chance to play?
Yeah, so if you look at our schedule, we have, I think, 4 out of the 5 games are Division III teams. So we're playing up. We're playing a higher division. Not super different with our enrollment numbers, but it is they do have more players and whatnot, so that should help us in the point aspect of things. We open up with Canfield. Canfield's going to be a really physical team. They're going to give you a bunch of different formations and different things that they haven't shown on film in that week 1 game. So it's a hard prep for us for sure. The style of football that they play, a lot of these teams are kind of similar in that sense of physical run first teams. So it's going to be good test for us. It's going to be a great environment when we go to Canfield week 1. Week 2, we picked up New Philly. New Philly is a really talented team. They've got one of those kids that I think they have a kid on their team that ran like a 10,500 electric. So he's going to be one of the fastest kids we see on our schedule. And even into the playoffs, one of the fastest kids we see. And, they're a physical brand of football as well. They want to run the football. They want to stop the run, similar to the Canfield Sense. Division III school as well. Then we go to Struthers, who, again, physical brand, physical community that they are in. I know they got a new coach, and with Coach Bayek leaving, but they had a ton of success last year, and I expect them to have all that excitement still in their program. Then we go to Cheney, who one of the best defenses in the area every single year, explosive athletes all over the field. So that's 3 of the first 4 games we're on the road. And then we play Howland at home. who has a lot of players returning, and I know their style of football is kind of in the same sense of they're going to be physical up front. They want to be physical in the run game. So we're going to be really battle tested in the sense of our physicality over the next several weeks. I think our scrimmages are also prepping us for those challenges and tests, and it's going to be good to see where we're at.
Let's talk about the biggest story in West Branch all summer: the brand new turf coming, putting in. What's your thoughts? How are you feeling about the new playing surface?
I think we're really excited to get on it. To be honest, we were a grass-based field and grass-based community, and we were okay with that. But I think this is going to be a more convenient thing for us in our program and all the other sports that are going to get the benefits of being able to play on the turf. So that's exciting, and it's going to create a better atmosphere. We also added some bucket seats for some season ticket holders on our home side, and we're making upgrades to our facilities, which is important because our kids deserve it, man. They've won a lot of games over the last couple years. We have high buy-in numbers across all sports and specifically football. We've got about 84, 85 guys on our roster, and then our junior high's got 50, 55 guys as well. So it's an exciting time to be a West Branch Warrior, and we're hoping that this is just the beginning of the upgrades that we do to our facilities. Because, like I said, our kids deserve it, our community deserves it. We want to have a grade A environment, and I think that this is only going to help it.
Let's also talk about the amazing staff that you have working with you. We know that you get all the interviews. You have to talk to us all the time, but you have great assistants that work with you from middle school on all the way on up to your varsity assistants. Let's talk about your staff and the people you have working and the coaches that put in the work to make this West Branch program what it is.
Yeah, I think we've got one of the best staffs in the area. I would argue that. I think that the time that they spend for our kids to be successful and the amount of time that they put into the process of what running a football program is above a lot of people. So we have a great staff. We'll start with Coach Alizos. He's our defensive coordinator. The amount of time that he spends on that side of the ball is really important for us. And maintaining these guys is super important. If you can maintain that culture and that group of coaches, then you kind of get a feel for what each other likes and how we coach the game and how we can coach with each other and all those different things. So we've been really fortunate over the last couple of years to keep and maintain a lot of these guys. So Coach Alizos, our defensive coordinator, his right-hand man is my brother, Nick Cooper. So it's awesome to be able to coach with my brother. He coaches in the secondary and he's helping out with the O-line. Also, we got Coach DeVanzo. He's been here for several years. He's a Poland guy, works really hard. He's our special teams coordinator. He coaches running backs, defensive ends, outside backers. He does a little bit of everything. We've got Coach Thomas. He's going to be our main offensive line guy, and he's also coaching the D line. He's a Western Reserve guy, so getting some ties back to my home community is pretty cool. We've got Coach Harris. The former head coach before me is back for another run at the offensive line position, and he is a guru. We call him, he's the wise one on our staff. So if we ever need advice or how to handle situations, we're going to him, and he's really, really good on the offensive line. We have Coach Mardick. He's in his third year as the receiver coach for us, and he also coaches outside backers. He's a really good young coach for us. We were able to add Nick Wilson to our varsity staff. He's phenomenal, man. He played for us a couple years ago. Really, really good football player. Understands the game at a high level. We're excited for him as a young coach. I'm trying to think who I'm forgetting. We got Coach Alec Wilson. He's going to be helping at the freshman level and the varsity level, bouncing around a little bit. Another former player that was a part of our program, which is really important to keep those guys involved. We got Coach Hossetter. He's our freshman head coach. He does a really good job with those guys, getting them to buy in and believe in our system. We've got Coach Kinjemi, who runs our weight room and helps out with our freshmen. Our weight room has been fantastic, and that's a testimony to the type of work that he has done and the type of person that he is. So, hats off to him and all the stuff that he does. And then we've got a great support staff, guys that necessarily aren't coaching positions, but they're doing wonderful things for our program. Our trainer, Tyler Kennedy, is top notch, taking care of our kids, making sure we're hydrated, doing all those things to keep it off of us a little bit. We got Billy Butcher as our ball boy, the best ball boy in the state. We've got John Hancock's our statistician. He's awesome as well, man. He does everything for our program. Rick Mullinex helps with film. Joe Malta helps with our film. He drives all the way from Pittsburgh to come to West Branch on Friday nights. So a lot of guys that just love being around this program and love being a part of it. So I'm super grateful and appreciative of those guys. We got to keep getting better, obviously, and I'm going to be hard on those guys because we have expectations for our program. So I appreciate their time, but we're gonna keep getting after it.
All those names, if anything doesn't prove to people out there that a football program is a village and it takes a village, that answer should absolutely solidify that idea, Coach. You have so many people working with you. But we want to thank you for your time and coming on to talk to us about the program and about the people that are working with you. We wish you the best of luck this year. You know we'll be out there covering you as much as we possibly can. And we will see you again real soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.